Every so often, a machine arrives that does more than chase numbers. It redefines what performance feels like. It captures a generation, sets a tone, and turns ordinary riders into believers. It is the kind of creation that changes how we think about speed, precision, and purpose, one that pushes engineering past comfort zones and into pure obsession. In the mid-1980s, the world of sport riding faced that exact turning point. Lightweight construction replaced brute strength, agility became the new horsepower. What came next would transform competition and spill over into every corner of the street scene. This story is not about nostalgia, it is about the moment racing ideals crossed over into everyday life, and the motorcycle that made it possible. Today, we dive into the origin, the evolution, and the enduring legend of the Suzuki GSX-R750 from 1985, a machine that marked the start of a new era in speed and control. Stick around, hit like and subscribe, and let us know what legendary ride you want covered next. In 1985, Suzuki launched the GSX-R750, a motorcycle that instantly set a new benchmark for the sport bike world. It was not a variation of an existing road machine but a purpose-built street version of a race platform. Before it arrived, the performance market was ruled by heavy steel-framed motorcycles that relied on displacement and straight-line speed to impress. Suzuki's engineers chose a different route. Instead of adding bulk, they removed it, chasing the principle that less weight meant more control. The GSX-R750 weighed around 388 pounds dry, a figure that stunned the industry. Its aluminum frame, dubbed the full floater chassis, offered a rigidity-to-weight ratio previously reserved for factory racers. This frame became the foundation of its character. It allowed precise handling, predictable corner entries, and an entirely new sense of responsiveness that most riders had never felt. The engine at its core was just as innovative. Rather than using traditional water cooling, Suzuki employed an oil cooling system called SAX, short for Suzuki Advanced Cooling System. The concept was simple yet revolutionary. Circulate engine oil through strategically placed passages and a large front-mounted cooler to manage high operating temperatures. This system reduced weight, complexity, and friction losses while maintaining consistent thermal stability at racing speeds. It was a breakthrough that made the GSX-R750 both fast and reliable under stress. Riders soon realized that this motorcycle blurred the line between track and street. The throttle response felt immediate, the power band linear yet thrilling, and the chassis balance inspired confidence even for intermediate riders. For the first time, enthusiasts could experience near-race dynamics without giving up daily usability. Suzuki advertised it as a race replica, but that label undersold its significance. It was more than a replica, it was the real experience made accessible. Every component reflected intention. The fairing design was wind tunnel tested, reducing drag and improving high-speed stability. The dual headlights and aggressive stance were not for show. They mirrored the endurance racers that competed in events like the Suzuka 8 Hours. The lightweight wheels, the clip-on handlebars, and even the rear-set foot pegs all screamed competition DNA. On the road, these details made the GSX-R750 a revelation. It cornered sharper, braked shorter, and accelerated harder than its contemporaries. But this innovation came with challenges. Some early riders reported that the GSX-R's taut suspension and focused ergonomics were unforgiving on rough pavement. It demanded skill and commitment. It was not a casual ride. That limitation, however, became part of its appeal. The GSX-R750 filtered out pretenders. It spoke directly to those who wanted precision over comfort. It was the embodiment of performance purity at a time when the market was still learning what that meant. Behind the scenes, Suzuki's engineers fought hard to make this leap. The decision to build an aluminum frame was risky. Aluminum was lighter but trickier to weld and could flex unpredictably under extreme loads. Suzuki invested heavily in production techniques to perfect the process. The result was a structure that balanced strength and agility in ways that changed motorcycle engineering forever. Within months of its debut, rival manufacturers began rethinking their design philosophies. The 1985 GSX-R750 was also a marketing triumph. Its silhouette became instantly recognizable. The blue and white color scheme symbolized Suzuki's racing heritage. Riders who owned one felt part of something exclusive, a tribe defined by performance. Dealerships struggled to keep them in stock, and race teams quickly adapted the platform for competition, further proving its worth. On the track, privateers found that the GSX-R could compete against purpose-built machines with minimal modification, which was unheard of for a production motorcycle. In endurance events, where reliability mattered as much as outright speed, the GSX-R750 excelled. Its oil cooling system endured punishing hours of racing without the thermal issues common to liquid-cooled competitors. Mechanics praised its accessibility and robustness, and riders praised its consistent behavior over long stints. These early successes validated Suzuki's engineering gamble and solidified the GSX-R's reputation as a machine that delivered professional-level performance straight from the showroom. The press reacted with enthusiasm, often calling it a game-changer. Reviews highlighted its featherweight handling, crisp throttle feel, and unprecedented acceleration. It was not just fast, it was responsive, communicative, alive. For many, riding the GSX-R750 was the first time they felt connected to a machine as if it anticipated their next move. That sense of synergy defined the new generation of sport bikes that followed. Yet, with innovation came expectation. Suzuki had set the bar so high that maintaining momentum became its next challenge. Riders wanted updates, racers wanted more power, and competitors wanted revenge. The GSX-R750 had rewritten the rulebook, and the industry was now racing to catch up. The question was no longer whether Suzuki could build a great motorcycle, it was whether they could sustain and evolve the idea they had just created. As the 1980s unfolded, the GSX-R name became synonymous with evolution. Each minor revision reflected lessons learned on the track. But to understand how deeply the original 1985 model influenced performance engineering, we need to look closer at what happened next, the ripple effect that spread through racing, technology, and motorcycle culture worldwide. That is where the true scale of its impact becomes clear, setting the stage for the next phase of our story. The impact of the 1985 Suzuki GSX-R750 extended far beyond its initial release. It became the blueprint for a new class of sport bikes, influencing both engineering and rider expectations. By focusing on weight reduction, Suzuki created a machine that demanded a different style of riding. Corner entry, body position, and throttle modulation became part of a more sophisticated dialogue between rider and machine. This philosophy shifted the industry's attention from raw horsepower to holistic performance. Rival manufacturers were forced to reconsider how they balanced engine output, chassis rigidity, and suspension geometry. The GSX-R750 demonstrated that a bike could be lighter, faster, and more responsive without compromising reliability. The aluminum frame, a core innovation, became the defining element of modern sport bike architecture. Its development required meticulous attention to metallurgy and welding precision. Small errors could compromise structural integrity or handling. Suzuki invested in specialized tooling and testing protocols, ultimately producing a chassis that could tolerate aggressive track use yet remain streetable. This success forced competitors to explore aluminum or other lightweight alloys, accelerating material science innovation within motorcycle design. By proving that a lighter, stiffer frame could outperform traditional steel designs, the GSX-R750 reset expectations for handling, agility, and rider feedback. Equally significant was the SAX oil cooling system. By maintaining consistent operating temperatures under high load, it allowed riders to exploit the engine's full potential without fear of overheating. This system contrasted with the heavier, more complex liquid cooling solutions that dominated the era. It delivered performance with less weight, fewer moving parts, and increased durability. Mechanics appreciated the accessibility for maintenance and tuning, which contributed to the GSX-R750's popularity among both amateur racers and privateers. The lesson was clear: innovative cooling could enhance power delivery, reliability, and usability simultaneously. The GSX-R750's race-ready characteristics also influenced the competitive scene. Local club racers found they could compete effectively against more expensive or purpose-built machines, leveling the playing field and encouraging participation. Endurance racing teams adopted the platform, appreciating its balance between speed and durability. Even minor modifications could yield substantial improvements, reinforcing the notion that thoughtful engineering mattered more than brute force. As results accumulated on tracks around the world, the GSX-R750 earned a reputation as both a winner and a teacher, showing riders and engineers alike what was possible when design prioritized performance and agility. In terms of culture, the GSX-R750 helped define a generation of riders. Its compact frame and aggressive ergonomics encouraged a more athletic riding style. Body position, weight transfer, and throttle control became essential skills. Riders who mastered the GSX-R gained confidence and precision, carrying these habits across motorcycles for years to come. Suzuki's approach elevated expectations for what a sport bike could offer: engagement, challenge, and reward in equal measure. Motorcycle magazines, enthusiast clubs, and track day events all reflected this shift. Riders discussed handling, frame flex, and throttle feel with a level of detail previously reserved for professional racers. The GSX-R750's influence also reshaped the marketing landscape. Manufacturers began highlighting engineering innovations, weight savings, and chassis geometry rather than only engine size or top speed. Suzuki's success showed that sophistication and technical credibility could drive sales, setting a precedent for future launches. Performance became a conversation about refinement, balance, and rider experience instead of raw numbers. This cultural shift rippled through the industry, encouraging other brands to innovate while also raising expectations for quality, responsiveness, and usability. Technology aside, the GSX-R750 reinforced a philosophical shift. Racing principles could directly inform street machines. The attention to frame rigidity, suspension setup, and engine response created a feedback loop where lessons from competition immediately benefited everyday riders. This approach elevated the overall quality of motorcycles, inspiring rivals to prioritize engineering over spectacle. The GSX-R750 demonstrated that a motorcycle could be exciting, reliable, and approachable all at once. Its holistic design philosophy became a reference point for decades, influencing Suzuki's future models and the broader market. By the late 1980s, the GSX-R750 had achieved legendary status. Riders and critics alike celebrated its agility, engine responsiveness, and track-inspired feel. It earned a loyal following, not just for speed but for the intelligence behind its design. This reverence was justified. Every detail reflected a deliberate engineering choice, each contributing to a harmonious experience. From cornering precision to long-distance stability, the GSX-R750 offered a comprehensive package that felt advanced even by today's standards. Its legacy was now inseparable from the concept of a true sport bike, a lightweight, high-performance machine engineered to reward skill and precision. In essence, the 1985 Suzuki GSX-R750 did more than compete, it educated. Riders learned to exploit its balance, manufacturers learned to prioritize weight and handling, and the sport bike category itself matured. The model became a reference, a benchmark, and a symbol of what motorcycles could aspire to be. Its influence persisted in subsequent generations of sport bikes, which borrowed its principles of lightness, precision, and performance. Understanding this impact allows us to appreciate the GSX-R750 not simply as a product of its time but as a transformative force that shaped the trajectory of high-performance motorcycles worldwide. The story of the GSX-R750 is therefore not just about a motorcycle, it is about the evolution of thought in motorcycling design. It taught lessons about weight distribution, engine efficiency, chassis tuning, and rider ergonomics. These lessons became the foundation for modern sport bike philosophy, influencing everything from entry-level models to professional racing machines. The ripple effect of Suzuki's 1985 breakthrough continues to inform design choices, proving that innovation can endure when it is grounded in intelligent engineering rather than marketing hype. By examining the GSX-R750's contributions in detail, we gain a clear picture of how a single model can redefine expectations, elevate a category, and inspire a generation of riders and engineers alike. Every aspect of the 1985 Suzuki GSX-R750, from its aluminum frame to its oil-cooled engine, contributed to a holistic revolution. The combination of lightness, performance, and usability became the benchmark for a new era. Riders learned precision, engineers learned efficiency, and the sport bike world learned that true innovation rewards those willing to rethink the fundamentals. This was the moment the sport bike genre truly matured, setting a precedent that endures to this day. Suzuki had created more than a motorcycle. It had established a legacy of intelligent, high-performance design that continues to influence motorcycles nearly 4 decades later. By the time the 1985 Suzuki GSX-R750 had settled into the market, its influence was unmistakable. It had redefined what a sport bike could be and how riders approached performance. The combination of its lightweight aluminum frame, oil-cooled engine, and track-inspired ergonomics set a new standard, proving that a production motorcycle could deliver near-race dynamics without requiring a professional racer to pilot it. Riders who experienced the GSX-R750 immediately recognized the difference. Corners felt sharper, throttle response was immediate, and every input seemed amplified by a machine designed to communicate, not just transport. Its presence reshaped expectations and educated a generation of riders about the importance of balance, precision, and handling. The GSX-R750 also influenced subsequent Suzuki models and the broader industry. Future sport bikes adopted its philosophies: lighter frames, improved suspension geometry, and engine designs optimized for usable power rather than just top-end output. Competitors took note, developing their own approaches to weight reduction and chassis innovation, yet many could not match the harmonious integration that made the GSX-R750 feel so cohesive. Its lessons extended beyond performance numbers, encouraging a culture where engineering intelligence mattered as much as horsepower. The ripple effect was felt on tracks, streets, and in design studios around the world, cementing its reputation as a transformative model. In addition to its technical legacy, the GSX-R750 established an emotional connection with riders. It was a machine that demanded respect and skill, rewarding those who engaged with its responsive chassis and powerful engine. Enthusiasts describe a sense of partnership. The motorcycle felt like an extension of the rider rather than a simple machine. This intimacy fostered loyalty and admiration, ensuring that the GSX-R750's reputation would endure long past the initial sales period. Collectors, racers, and street riders all continue to celebrate it as a turning point in sport bike history. The cultural significance of the GSX-R750 cannot be overstated. It transformed rider expectations, emphasizing that excitement came from mastery and engagement rather than mere speed. Track-inspired design principles became aspirational for everyday riders, and Suzuki's commitment to engineering excellence reshaped marketing and consumer perceptions. Magazines, racing clubs, and enthusiasts communities began discussing handling, weight distribution, and frame stiffness in ways previously reserved for professional engineers. This dialogue elevated the sport bike genre and influenced how motorcycles were designed, marketed, and appreciated for decades to come. Finally, the GSX-R750 serves as a benchmark in motorcycle history. Its innovations in frame design, engine cooling, and performance integration have echoed through successive generations of sport bikes. Even today, riders who seek precision, responsiveness, and race-derived engineering often look to the GSX-R lineage as the standard. The 1985 GSX-R750 demonstrated that thoughtful engineering, combined with racing inspiration, could create a machine that was more than transportation. It could educate, inspire, and endure. In understanding this model, we see not just a motorcycle but a turning point that defined the trajectory of high-performance motorcycles for years to come. The 1985 Suzuki GSX-R750 remains a testament to the power of innovation grounded in intelligent design, It proved that performance is a balance of speed, agility, and rider engagement rather than raw horsepower alone. Its influence continues to inform motorcycle engineering, racing philosophy, and rider expectations. From its aluminum frame to its oil-cooled engine, every aspect of the GSX-R750 exemplifies thoughtful, high-performance design that rewards skill and precision. Decades later, its lessons remain relevant, and its legacy continues to inspire engineers, riders, and enthusiasts who seek the perfect harmony between man and machine. The GSX-R750 was not merely a motorcycle, it was the start of a new era, one that forever changed sport bikes and the way we experience riding. The 1985 Suzuki GSX-R750 taught the motorcycle world a simple yet profound lesson. True performance comes from the sum of intelligent design, engineering innovation, and rider engagement. Every aspect of its creation, from the aluminum frame to the Sachs oil-cooled engine, reflected deliberate choices that prioritized agility, responsiveness, and reliability. Riders experienced a machine that felt alive, rewarding skill with precise feedback and predictable handling. This approach shifted the conversation in motorcycling, encouraging enthusiasts to value balance and control alongside power. Its influence extended far beyond the showroom. Competing manufacturers studied the GSX-R750 closely, rethinking chassis design, weight distribution, and suspension setups to remain competitive. Track and street riders alike adapted their techniques, learning to exploit the advantages offered by a lightweight, race-inspired platform. Motorcycle culture began to emphasize engineering sophistication as much as raw speed, with discussions of frame flex, throttle response, and cornering dynamics becoming commonplace. Suzuki's success demonstrated that a motorcycle could inspire both technical admiration and emotional connection. The GSX-R750 also established a blueprint for the future. Subsequent Suzuki sport bikes carried forward its principles, refining and evolving them, while the broader industry incorporated its lessons into new models. Every generation of sport bike since owes a debt to the 1985 GSX-R750's pioneering combination of lightness, power, and rider-focused design. Its DNA persists in modern motorcycles that balance performance with usability, proving that intelligent engineering endures. In reflecting on the GSX-R750, it becomes clear that its legacy is not just measured in speed or sales, but in its transformative impact on motorcycle design and culture. It bridged the gap between racetrack performance and street accessibility, setting a precedent for how sport bikes are conceived and experienced. Riders gained a machine that taught precision and rewarded skill, engineers gained a reference point for innovation, the industry gained a benchmark for what a sport bike could achieve. Ultimately, the 1985 Suzuki GSX-R750 remains a defining chapter in motorcycle history. Its blend of lightweight construction, race-derived technology, and rider-centric design changed expectations forever. It proved that performance is multidimensional, encompassing not only power but balance, responsiveness, and control. Even decades later, it inspires riders and engineers, reminding us that thoughtful design can leave a lasting mark on both machines and the people who ride them. The GSX-R750 did more than redefine a class. It created a legacy of excellence that continues to influence sport bikes and riders around the world today.